from University of Agriculture, Faisalabad, for organizing this webinar on daily basis. Thank you so much, dear participant, for joining us. Thank you so much, respected guest speaker, Dr. Rabia Zahid, for joining us. Dr. Rabia, please आप अपना टॉपिक जो है उसको एक्सप्लेन करें.
Okay, thank you so much for inviting me as a speaker for this series of webinar. It's very precious and knowledgeable series actually. And we
थोड़ा सा
all are
loudly बोल
definitely.
दीजिए.
अब आ रही है?
जी जी अब आ रही है.
ठीक है, मुझे काइंडली इन्फॉर्म कीजिएगा अगर आवाज में कोई इंटरप्शन हो रहा है तो.
जी ठीक है.
Today's topic of my webinar is actually dependent upon some computational techniques regarding the research methodologies. Many of the listeners here are concerned with the research methods and usually are working in MPhil or PhDs. So I have selected this webinar topic for their easiness to select their doses and calculations, especially for the research that is involved with herbal medicine. Because there is very lacking data regarding the pharmacokinetics and dynamics of the medicinal plants. So to calculate the doses and to set out the optimization conditions for the research study, it is very difficult for students to idealize the situation. So I want to share some techniques here that are computational techniques. Basically, I implemented these techniques on my PhD thesis as well, and it helped me a lot for optimizing the experiment conditions. Here I will discuss only one method that may be helpful for many researchers. That is the response surface methodology. And in this technique that is known as response surface methodology, we have to use the beneficial. There are various softwares, but the most beneficial for our study related techniques regarding herbal medicine or plant-based studies and disease-based studies is the design expert software that is model 13. It's very easy and very convenient to optimize your experimental conditions. So I want to explain that in this technique, you will have to select two basic parameters, that is a dependent variable and independent variables. So you will first select what are your dependent variables and what are your independent variables of research study. Dependent variables are those on which your experiment depends, that whether the increment or decrease of that factor can change the whole optimization of your experiment. Like if you change the temperature, I'll discuss with a very simple example of the extraction method that is used almost in all studies of Eastern medicine or phytomedicine. So being taking as an example the extraction method, it is based upon the temperature, upon the time of soaking, upon the solvent concentration. The main factor here that is highly dependent is basically the solute to solvent concentration, and how much, simply we can say that how much plant or plant powder you will have to soak in which quantity of solvent, sorry. And the solvent itself, if in a ratio like it's 30-70 ratio, 50-60 ratio, which will be the ideal ratio for the solvent mixture, which will be the ideal concentration of solute to solvent ratio, what will be the ideal temperature for better yield, and what will be the ideal time, how much you will take to soak your solute into the solvent. So what are these ideal conditions that can produce the highest yield of your extraction? How can you say that while taking 37 degrees centigrade and 3 days for soaking, that is 72 hours, or that is 30-70 ratio of solvent mixtures, or that is 1:10 or 1:20 basically is the standard, and how can you say that it is the ideal for the yield? because various scientists are using leaves or roots or fruits or different parts of the plant that have different concentrations of the phytochemicals. So how can you get the better yield? To optimize this, you will have to put these factors as your dependent variables, and one you will select as independent variable, that is your percentage yield. So how can you use this methodology or computational technique that is known as response surface methodology? You will have to put all these factors in this software. It will give you the option of factor one, two, three, whatever you can add up to so on. So you will add one factor as temperature, one as solvent ratio, one as solute ratio, whatsoever dependent variables you will add in it. And then you will put the software to optimize these conditions. It will give you a number of runs, and runs are basically the factor dependent or dependent factor concentrations or dependent factor optimized values that can predict the highest percentage yield of your extract. It will give 17 to 20 to 25, whatever you want. You can run many concentrations, and it will give you the percentage yield. That if you will take the temperature at 37, you will take the solute to solvent ratio at 1:10, you will take the solvent mixture concentration as 30/70, what will be the predicted percentage yield. And if you will change this temperature, how your percentage yield can be increased, and with what will be the final value of all these factors where you can get maximum percentage yield. It will give you 17 to 20 different combinations of these factors that can yield high. So you can select any of the percentage yield that you want to achieve from your practical experiment, and you can make that combination of all these factors practically. You will achieve highest yield. Similarly, if you are going to perform an antioxidant activity, you will apply the response surface methodology. You will implement the design expert software. So what it will give you? It will give you the concentration and the doses of your samples that are to be tested, that at which dose, at which concentration of your extract or fraction or whatever is your test sample, what will be the predicted antioxidant activity. And definitely everyone wants to get the maximum results or maximum percentage inhibition. So you can calculate the doses or concentrations of test samples by applying these softwares. Similarly, if you are going to perform an in vivo study, there is artificial neural networking. So artificial neural networking basically gives you similarly variables that are dependent and independent, but various factors like the weight of animal and the concentration of drug, your positive control, your negative control, your normal control, how these can interact with each other to give you a maximum output of your result. That is a very suitable method or computational method, that is artificial neural networking. It works in some hidden layers. It performs its model in three layers. Two are hidden, one is intermediate, one is first, and one is the last one can be observed, and that gives the maximum output. They can design a model for you that if you will follow this model, you can get these consequences. These are basically predicted values. But I have performed this in my PhD research work, and I got very excellent results, and it saves my time too much. I didn't have spoiled my time to design the doses. I didn't have to be very curious regarding the mistakes, that should I have test some doses then to finalize one for the best results. No, all these trial bases can be reduced, time can be saved, and perfection can be achieved. Conditions can be optimized by using these computational techniques. these softwares, these are very helpful actually in research study to design and optimize your research studies. So I suggest all of my researchers, my MPhil scholars, PhD fellows and scholars, please implement these studies and let your students to learn these studies. Actually, it was not a very pre-prepared topic for me because of the shortage of time. If I will hopefully in future, if I will have to give a chance, I will perform this on the screen. I will make a PowerPoint presentation for you, and inshallah share all the methods to perform. And when you will have to design the predicted values, it can also help you in quadratic equations. They will give you the quadratic equations also, these softwares, right? And in quadratic equation you can perform ANOVAs, you can implement SPSS, everything. P values, lack of fit, significance, insignificance, all will be calculated for every each and every run, or each and every predicted value. Everything will be given over there. And additionally, very attractive, that is the 3D graphs. We usually perform pie graphs, bar graphs, column graphs, but it is a new technique and it will give you the 3D graphs. You can rotate in any direction to explain or to represent that how one factor can affect the final consequences, or final percentage yield, or final antioxidant activity, anti-inflammatory activity. So this is very helpful, and inshallah in future I'll share it with you on PowerPoint presentation, that how you can use these softwares, how you can implement in your study, and how you can optimize your studies by using these softwares, how you can save your time. This is very helpful, and I think we should move towards the computational techniques now. Uh, and we should not be so manual by calculating on your notebooks, by calculating on your mobile phones, how those can be designed, and how you can uh, refer these doses with other papers. No, this is somehow old methods. So please use new methodologies, new techniques, and it's very important that to use these techniques. It will increase the acceptability rate of your research articles, your review articles. It will give them improvement. When you will show the 3D graphs over there, it will be very attractive for the scientific world globally. So hope for the best. And if anyone want to seek these methods, he or she should consult the design expert software model number 13. That is very, very, very easy and convenient for studies of medical sciences. Okay, if any one of you have any question. Hello.